There we go. Hey, everybody. I know y'all think, wow, their picture looks really clear. Fuller got a new toy. And so I said, you know what? Let's use the iPad to do confidence. And so I must say, I like the little complexion. Oh, I'm looking at myself.
Yeah.
Like the colors
Right.
nice and crisp. Baby, the TV's on though behind us. Well, what you got playing? Okay. This is how we do it. Hey everybody, what's going on? YouTube audience. I know y'all are like, why can't we chat? We're gonna get there someday. And so for now, we are on where you can join us if you want to be a part of the Facebook audience where you can chat. Then you just join Fuller's as a friend, and I will try to add you. You know, there's so many people that be trying to get in and become friends, and sometimes you don't know if it's a true person or if there's somebody else that's scamming or whatever. So I've kind of stopped adding people to Facebook friends. But if you tell us, hey, I'm going to reach out, then we got you. We got you. So how was y'all's weekend?
Hey, Miss Norma.
Hey, Miss Norma. And everybody else that's joining on YouTube. We got an audience going on YouTube, and then the Facebook folks are joining in on us. And so, okay. So what you do this weekend? Not like we
Not a
went
whole lot.
together. You didn't?
Not a whole lot.
You don't remember?
Yeah, I went to
Friday.
Friday on Sunday,
Well,
Thursday.
I can tell you what you did. No, no, no. We did. Paige's birthday was this week.
Mm-hmm.
So Thursday is where we started. Paige, hey, row. So we started with Paige on Thursday,
Yep.
spending all our moolah.
Yep.
And so Paige had an all day. We started out, we hired a driver that we've used before, driver, and drove her, wanted to make her feel special. She turned 20, and we ended up, taking her on took her and her three friends and her friends from college. One was her roommate, and a couple other young ladies. One is her really good friend, two good friends, and we took them to eat brunch first, and then we headed to, for those that are in Georgia, we headed way up north to Alpharetta
Yeah.
and went to the Avalon shopping. And I was like, "Is there more than 15 stores in the Avalon?" And they all high end stores too. I'm like, Paige, why we up in Avalon?
Because Paige got expensive tickets.
If y'all saw Paige at church on Sunday, or you see Paige at the women's convention, Paige gonna dress. I'm like, Paige, I'm so glad you got that style. But I think that she gleams it. I'm not gonna take any of the credit. I think that I'm gonna give that credit to Fuller. She sees him with the name brands and the all the colognes and the name brand, whatever it is. In fact, she said when we were in the at the place, um, the driver dropped us off in a central location, and she happened to see the Toomey store. Now, what would Paige need to go into the Toomey store for? Right? Paige said, "There's a Toomey store." I was like, "So, Paige, did you want to go in?" No, I was just saying that there's a Toomey store. Oh, Mama, by the way, there's also a Tory Burch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me know, Paige. Yes. And so we did a little shopping. She went and got some perfume.
Paige know I like Toomey.
Yes, you do. We went to Sephora. We went to Tory Burch. And Paige. What was interesting, you guys? This is for the ladies and maybe the men too. And Paige then says, "Let's go into Chanel." I want her to experience. We there. You do a little shopping. And so the lady then brings us out this latest Chanel perfume. Anybody knows Chanel? You know Chanel is not cheap. We're not cheap, and we're not buying no $500 perfume bottles for baby girl.
For a girl just got out being a teenager.
Just got out
Right,
in teenage,
right.
not even 24 hours. Got out.
Still need college money.
Right. And speaking of which, and then so we left there. Oh no, we're still in Chanel. And so then I said to the lady, so then how much is it for the smaller bottle of this perfume? She said, "Oh, it's just 300." I said, "Okay, we're gonna come back." So do you have some samples to give to my daughter? She walked out with some samples.
Okay.
And so mama did the right thing. It's
Right.
not buying everything just because she wanted to go and have a shopping spree. Now, mind you, um, we took all the girls to breakfast, right? And got the limo. Okay, so then, and then these were some of the things Paige said she wanted to do. So one shopping. Then we went to the Pond City Market. For those that may come to Atlanta, that's a good place to go visit. Nice little tourist attraction, and they have a perfume place that can make custom perfumes for you. And so we all get ready to sit down, and the lady says, um, would you like all of you guys to be included? So I said, so this is a good thing that I've learned as a parent. You ask and just don't pull out your credit card. Because I think all the girls were looking at me like, you taking care of all of us? I said, so before you get started, tell us how much it is to do this custom perfume. She said, oh, it's just $85 a person. Now there's 5 of us there. I said, okay. I said, now, girls, since you guys are going to all be paying for yourselves, it is $85. Now, don't feel any pressure to do this. And so that's one beautiful thing, babe, I must say about myself. I can be direct, but in a nice way, so that they didn't get it like Miss Quincy Fuller was coming out and spending $600 on perfume that they could custom make. So anyhow, so then we move on to
But that was just the base price, right?
that was the base price. That was the price.
For so
85.
whatever they made.
Yeah, 55 with just the base perfume that was on. What they do is they have this wall of designers that have designed perfumes for like for Tom Ford or Chanel. And they have another designer that's helped design perfumes, and then they come up with their own base formula. Then they mix it in depending on the type of formula or type of smell you like, and they mix it all in. And then that's where the 85 comes from. The 55 is the base, the 85 is with the custom part. And then they give you a bottle and they put the name of the perfume that you want on the bottle, whatever name you want to put on it. And so so we did that, and then we came on back to back to the house, sat down for about an hour, and then we took them to dinner. All the girls to dinner. And so that was a long day. But that didn't end it. So then we moved to Friday. And Paige, by the way, she did get her Tory Burch. She's got a couple of nice things for her birthday. And then we moved on to Friday. We had a drive-by birthday party. Thank you for those that drove by, those that sent seed to the page, Cash Apps. Thank you so much. She really appreciated it. Now she can pay me all the money back. No, I'm just playing.
You wasn't getting back no way.
Ooh, it's over. We had a drive-by. She had guests come by. We had nothing bundt cake. I'd never had that before. When I tell you that strawberries and cream, it'll bless you, but don't go get none. Okay, so that was really our Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Watched the best South Carolina Gamecocks. They won
On Friday.
One.
Yeah, they
One
won.
Friday, got blown out yesterday.
yeah,
But I'm still a Don Staley South Carolina girls basketball team. Really good.
Yeah, it was good. So brings us to Sunday. So Sunday, happy Easter. We celebrated the resurrection of our Lord Savior Jesus Christ
At different locations.
at different locations. I was able to, in honor, was asked to lead praise and worship at a church near our home, and had 2 services. So I did that yesterday, and so I was telling Fuller that while I was there, this brings us to our topic today, which is loneliness will talk you into anything. And what do I mean by that? What the pastor taught on, which is very similar to what we teaching on in our church, but he did a different little spin where he talked about who told you that. And I was like, well, who told you that? He was saying that, just in life, we go through relationships, not necessarily marriage, but just in general, when you are you hear things, and some of the things are things that we are subliminal. So while you're watching TV, like maybe you're watching a TV and they show a lady with long eyelashes. So then you think, oh, my eyelashes are not long enough. Or the men, you see a guy with a gray beard, and now they're showing a formula how to darken it. So you think, oh, something wrong with my beard. Not that you're saying it, but you're thinking, oh, that'd be a nice product. Or someone is saying to you, or you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too short, you're too fat. I mean, too tall. You want to be light skinned, dark skinned. My friend is married. I'm not married. I've been dating this person for this long. They've not married me. All my friends are married. All my friends got kids. Or I don't have any kids. What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. It's the state that we find ourselves in when we're comparing ourselves, and you find yourself in a state of loneliness. And so then that brought me to, I was talking to Flo about it. Hey, RJ, Gwen, and Teresa, everybody that's come in, I can't see all the names. Then it brought me to this conversation I was sharing with Flo, which is how loneliness, in relationships, because of all those things that are these inputs into our ear gate and eye gate, right? And then they start causing us to um, find ourselves then in relationships that um, that are not so great for us. And I mean by that, all those things that are almost these negative things that you start thinking about yourself. A lot of things are positive. Now I don't have no self-esteem problem, but it don't really require me to have a self-esteem problem. When in my past, when I was dating, and even in marriage sometimes too. But when I was dating, I remember when I was dating this guy, I felt like I really had it all together. And then the person then starts challenging. Why do you wear that? You would look better if you have, you know, newer clothes, or, a different brand of clothes, or,
Different style.
different style. I mean, me and Miss Norma, I'm gonna call her out, and not in a negative way, but she said to me, she said, I like to wear black. I like to wear black too. And she said, I know people be talking about me because I wear black all the time. But that's what she liked.
Yeah. And I do too.
Right.
Because
And
I'm
I
a
do
lot of
too.
black.
Me too. And that's what I like. But oftentimes we get into relationships, whether it's a male, female, boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, whatever, we begin to receive the inputs from the people. And a lot of times, like when you and I got together, we got together and you made my life better in a better sense, from how I dress, the things, that I look good in. You were positive about it. You weren't critical. But then I started thinking about, as I was dating then, and I'm saying this for people that are, maybe you're single, maybe you are in a marriage, maybe you're engaged. But we start listening to the negative noise that comes in, and it's not really true to who you are, because we start changing ourselves to fit what other people like. Baby, come on. I mean, jump in.
Well, you know, we let other folks influence us because we don't know who really we are. And we try to, that's a scripture that say, don't be conformed to this world, but be you transform. It says, don't let the world squeeze you into their way of thinking. That's amplified. And a lot of time we let people squeeze us into their way of thinking and what they want to see in a man or woman, and they start trying to mold them in their image and likeness. But the problem with this, God made each one of us originals,
Mm-hmm.
but we die copies
Mm-hmm.
because we are not in an original state that God created us to be, because we have let the people squeeze us into their way of thinking.
Yeah.
With me, I had to have a positive outlook and attitude all my life because I was so short. I mean, I was in college, and y'all know this is very small for a man. I was in college. I was 5'6", and I weighed 129 pounds. I mean, the wind could have came by and blew me away, but I grew more from going to college at maybe some say 19 to 21 than I did from people like 12, 13 to 19. So I grew more. And so by being small, I always had a combative attitude, not confrontational,
Confrontational.
but but I had to be assured who I knew who I was because of that small, and that's always served me well. It's people that I know now. The reason I don't let people mold me into squeeze me into their way of thinking, I know without a doubt that I'm an English assassin. That I will hurt the English language. But I know I have an anointing. And so the anointing override my inadequacies, And speaking of my vocabulary, vernacular, Dr. Ferris Hill, excuse me for y'all, let me interrupt and speak to this young man here. I hadn't seen him in 25, 30 years. He was the first gospel rapper I ever heard.
What?
And we used to go into schools, the high school, the middle schools, and Ferris would minister to the kids. And if they asked him something about Jesus, he couldn't go in as a gospel art rapper. He had to go in as a motivational speaker. But as he went in with the motivational speaker in Griffin, Georgia, but if you don't remember, and we would go into the public schools, and I'm telling you, we had more white kids come to our church that night. He did a concert that night at our church. We had more white kids than I've seen in the city of Griffin.
Really?
Oh, they were all outside. They were there an hour early, different from us. They were there an hour early. And he came several times. We went to different schools. And man, what a blessing he has been. And then we was preached together down in the Bahamas.
Really?
Yeah, sure did.
Well,
so Dr. Ferris Hill, it is so good to see you, man.
Yeah, well, good. Well, welcome to Confidence. You probably been on here. Hey, what's going? Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm gonna stop you right here. And she know I'm gonna have to stop her. This is Fee.
My daughter.
Fee talking about hey Mama D and that. Ain't nobody know Mama D.
Dee. Okay, Dee.
Me and Fee about maybe 5 years apart. But that's my daughter in love.
Yes.
I ain't gonna talk about your Fee.
My daughter, period. Yes, that's my daughter. Yeah.
Yes. And so what's going? Okay. So yes, you do, Bishop. You were anointed yesterday and sharp. That's Miss Norma right here.
Okay.
Right here?
Okay.
Norma said, yes, you do, Bishop. You were anointed and yesterday and sharp.
And by the way, I'm doing Bible study at World Changers on Wednesday night. So I'll be the speaker Wednesday night.
Yeah, baby, let me tell you something.
I'm blessed.
I'm liking this iPad. It's nice and clear and crisp. Yeah. And so I'm glad you got a new iPad. So, but back to our subject. So then I turn it around just a little bit because that you're right. I think we do, in your case, your height, I never really even paid attention to. I think because you talk about it all the time, I noticed it. But I that never has bothered me with you because yes, you're anointed in so many other ways.
But I grew up more than now. Yeah, 5'9".
Yeah. Are you 5'9"?
I was 5'9".
5'6".
I'm 5'9", baby.
You 5'9"? Okay. Full like
I'm getting old. I'm shrinking back down. Maybe 5'8". I saw 5'8".
So he said, but you got the oil. Mr. Norman said you got the oil on you.
Thank you, dear.
Yes. And
so, Pastor had me open up yesterday with prayer. Summers up in Ken, made remarks, and so then together the twin Ken was on fire yesterday. On fire.
Well, let me tell you what then brings me around to this. Loneliness will talk you to anything because I was trying not to bite off of what the pastor had talked about yesterday because I was going to call this segment, Who Told You That?
Right.
And I switched it around because I wanted to talk to our audience of, do we settle, in relationships and this is not meant to be like a negative conversation, but I told Fuller, I just remembered I didn't know who I was at one point because Fuller even asked me. He said, Darlene, you sound like a battered wife or battered girlfriend. I was like, what you talking about? Because I'd allowed someone, and sometimes this happens in marriage too, you allow somebody else's opinion or behavior to minimize who you are. So you change your standards, you change how you think, you change how you look. You don't wear certain things. Like I've seen this before where a good looking woman, fine, date a troll or marry a troll, marry somebody that's not as attractive, and she begins to dumb down her appearance. Vice versa.
I like that now.
I don't normally see men. I don't normally see the men reverse that and do that.
No,
men tend to keep they standard
because women normally bring the man up most of the time. For his dress. Attire.
But I've seen a beautiful women, and then we sometimes be like, how did he get her? So anyway, so I got a question. This is for you guys. Did you choose them or did you choose not to be alone?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Did you choose them You can be married to them. You can be dating them. You can be engaged to them. You could be friends with them. You could be in
Don't
your
want to be lonely
yeah.
anymore.
Because if you think you're lonely now, okay, that's not a good song to sing on that one. But so let's
It
be
is.
yeah, yeah. But it says wait until tonight, girl.
Well, hey, you're
You
gonna
know?
be lonely up.
Right, right. So let's be honest. Have you ever stayed with someone not because they were right for you, but because you didn't want to start over? I'm gonna say,
Have you dated anyone because you didn't want to be by yourself? So you just dated them,
yeah,
even
that
though
was
you
me.
know they was not in your class
Not in
a
my
lot of
class.
times. Not even somebody you would be even interested in if your eyes
Typically.
was clear. If your eyes were clear.
Who say if your eyes was clear?
Yeah. But
Could you get blinded by what is that?
be blinded by the loneliness, by being by yourself, and you date somebody.
Yeah, yeah. So then that's the topic. So loneliness will talk you in to anything.
Yeah.
Talk you into
You can be lonely and be married.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so loneliness can feel louder than logic. You start accepting things you once said you would never. You never would. Like
Because you're pacifying the other person. You're like you said, dumbing down just to get along, just to keep the peace.
oh, this is a good one. Time invested starts to feel like a reason to stay. Because you've been with it for so long, then you're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna stay. Even if that person then they may not marry you, but you put in all the time. So you'd rather live with the person than make them do the right thing and marry you. And this goes both ways. So let's see what Nick says. Wow, you can be lonely and be married. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, you can be lonely and be married. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, don't forget we need to have you on the broadcast
Yeah,
here.
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Miss Norman says, no, I learned to like me and found out it's okay to be alone and happy and content. Was single a long time.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And wasn't looking for nobody. And so I was single for a long time, but at some point, I think for me, because I had been married for so long, for the 14 years, and then I go straight from immediately being by myself. Now, I didn't really date anybody for, let's say, I don't know, 3 or 4 years that I had somebody I was dating. I'm not talking about going out on a date and that swiping left, swiping right, and that what's the online dating? The full looking at me like I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know about.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever those single little websites are and apps and all that. And so, but once I then found this person that I thought Christian and started hanging out. But one of the things that I noticed, because I know we don't have a lot of time, I started realizing, and it's subtle, baby. When you're dating someone, the ladies and men that are listening to this, that maybe you are dating someone, engaged to someone, and even married to someone, and the language begins to shift from at first, how you lovey-dovey with the person, y'all texting all night long, and you all into the person. You're like, oh, I know this is gonna be my husband. And then that language starts shifting. They start getting loud when they talk, or yelling at you, short, or aggressive, or abrasive. I know many, not many, not a lot, but even Christian relationships where I've had people to say, that even watch here and will say, Darlene, I'm so glad you and Fuller Bishop, y'all are so comforting, y'all are so encouraging to us because, I was in my marriage and, people come to church and they behave one way and then the spouse is throwing the wife up against the wall.
Yeah.
Or, talking to them in a very negative way, or because what we see is what you'll only allow us to see
Speak down to them. Yeah.
At church we one way,
right?
And then when we get to it, by ourselves, like Fuller and I today, we had a heart-to-heart conversation with something that was just on my mind, and I appreciate being able to share certain things, even though I could be wrong or I could be right. It didn't matter, but we got a chance to just kind of talk through it. In my past, what would happen was it would be an argument. What Fuller said to me today is, Darlene, what you feel is true for you. It's no sense of me defending it because that's how you feel. I could give you all the explanations and defending my case and coming up with a cause and all that. He said, it doesn't really matter. That's how you feel. I'll do a better job. Listen to this. Fuller says, I just gotta love him. Fuller says, I guess I need to do better. Now, he didn't even use the word I guess. So I just do better, you know? But what, if you don't know what love looks like and you've never experienced it, remember that one topic we talked about is, have you ever been loved?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what love feels like? That's what we want for all of
So
you guys to know what.
most people, majority of the people probably not experience true love.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
gonna
and
go ahead, baby. Finish that.
they just probably not experience true love because they don't know what it looked like, because they, a lot of it has to do with their growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Thought, whether it was a single household or whether it was a husband, wife, the man didn't show no love. The mama showed all the love and the man didn't show no love. And I heard some actor today that say only thing he want was his daddy love. One of the unsung we were watching last
unsung,
night,
yeah.
and he's saying all he wanted was his daddy love, and he started getting in trouble in school because he wanted his daddy love, and then he rebelled and went out and started doing drugs. And he was raised up in the church and was a big time gospel artist, but he still did the drug stuff because he lost his identity. He didn't know his true identity because he didn't have that father impartation. And so when that happens, the inferiority kick in, and then the I'm not worthy kick in. So he's trying to say, what can I do? I had to do something to earn that love. So they look at love from a different perspective than someone that was raised up in a wholesome marriage.
Yeah. So Verdale says, look there, she says, yes, I was married previously at a younger age and I didn't know who I was, nor did I know him.
Wow.
So we think Miss Norma would probably say, oh, I know who I was or who I am. I know who I am right now, married and all that, but it ain't gonna talk to me any kind of way. Not every person has that experience, right? You have I want to say a lot more than not that go through that challenge of having the person to define and determine who they are, because we don't know we are, right?
You know, I was looking at the scripture, and I ain't gonna start pulling out the scripture for even like for tomorrow, Wednesday night. And I was looking at, and what we're talking about is so important. It lines up with what I'm going in, because Pastor and myself been talking about identity. He talked about the resurrected identity yesterday, and when I started looking at Matthew, and Matthew is starting with the genealogy. Abraham begotten, then Abraham begotten Isaac begotten Jacob. This goes on and on about down to Jesus. And sometimes, and that means something. That's saying this is your identity. This is the root of your identity.
Yeah.
So these are the root. So with that root, I'm a Fuller. If you know me, my brothers and I act just alike, don't we? Because we're Horace Fuller Junior children.
Yeah.
We're his boy. We act just like him. We look like him.
Yeah.
Everything. So a lot of times, if you don't know who you are in the root, you become a copy. You copy somebody else's lifestyle, somebody else's characteristics, somebody else's stance or man. And so that's and we don't. So you put up with a lot. You tolerate a lot because you're not sure.
Yeah, Miss Norma says that. She said in her first marriage, she didn't know who she was.
Right.
Because, we're young.
Right.
We think we want to get married at 20, get married at 24, get married at 28.
Everybody else get married or lust. Or both.
Right. You want to do the right thing. Right. Y'all boyfriend and girlfriend for a while. And so you think, okay, then we can get engaged, and then it ain't the right time to get engaged or get married because we don't have enough finances yet. And so you kind of just still hanging out, or you start living together. Now that one I don't understand. How do you live with somebody and you're not married because of finances? Because you're waiting to get married until you get some more money. But anyway, so Ms. Norma says she didn't know. You can't even know the true life, I think, until you know him. Right. God is. Let me ask you a question, baby, because you said this before, and I think this is good, and probably maybe we can go into it more next week. But you said that when you were growing up, you had two parents. Anybody, you guys, you're on here, Give me put a number 2 in the chat if you had both parents growing up. Both parents growing up. Put a number 2 in the chat if you have both parents growing up. The reason why I'm asking that is I didn't have both parents growing up. So I've never seen my mom in a relationship with another man. Fuller said on the different side, he did have both parents, but you didn't see that like you and I, we kiss each other, pat each other on the butt. We do it in front of the kids for a reason, so that they know what love looks like in a marriage.
Right.
So you said
I never seen my mom and parents. I saw them communicate. I saw them get along real good. But back in that day, the kissing and the hugging, showing their affection in front of the children, I guess they thought the children would take it a little further and they'll do the same thing, not married. But I know they love one another, and I know how they loved us, but never in a public affection. Not public. In the house, that's public. So in our house, I didn't see that.
Right. So did you guys that put a number 2 in the chat, did y'all see your parents be really affectionate with each other? And I know it's a different generation, so I get that. But many times in some of our relationships, and I'm talking about the ones that maybe in our community, they may not have 2-parent homes. And even if they did have 2-parent homes, how often would they see their parents kissing one another, holding their hands? And so because you've not seen what love supposed to look like, even when we argue, me and Fuller, we've not ever argued in front of the kids. We make some comments, but not in a negative way in front of the kids. But they know that's, they never seen us get out of character.
I would never do that. I wouldn't do that.
And so.
It's just the generations are different, and I remember us being at the Falcon football game, and we wasn't even kissing or doing anything. Yeah. We was just, I guess that's the way we was touching one another, and the girl tapped you on the shoulder and said, "I love how black love look good on y'all." We was just at the game, and we was cheering and everything. Yeah. But they can see the chemistry. They can see, and I told you, even with my late wife Jean, that people used to come out the rafters and at World Chambers and come and they had well-known pastors, and they said, "We want what y'all got. Yeah, we want what y'all got." And you even said, you admired us from the front row, singing and looking at us on the front row and saying, "Man, that's what I want. That's what I would like."
And the thing is I'm so glad that I know that this is the part you have to know about yourself. I know what loneliness looks like. Okay. Right. Now I know what love looks like. Comparing the two, when you have seen loneliness and what comes with it, and I mean loneliness as in dating someone or being with someone and still feeling lonely, or you don't want to be lonely, so you date people that are not qualified to be a part of your identity, to grow you into your next journey.
Right.
And so when you have been through I didn't know who I am and I know who I am now, it's nothing like coming up to the level that God has created you to be, and knowing that I'm the righteousness of God, that I'm supposed to live like this. I'm supposed to drive like this. Or I'm supposed to have a great husband. I'm supposed to have a good and godly relationship, great children. I'm supposed to, whatever I'm believing him for, nobody can talk me out of that. And you can't even tell me I'm ugly.
That's your inheritance.
Right. You can't tell me nothing. Like, even like when I talk about my own weight, Full will be like, "Baby, look, you fine to me." So, and then
that's what matters.
Right. And that's what matters. And so Miss Von Holmes says, "My parents always showed affection when I was growing up, and I'm truly blessed." That's awesome. And so then Fat says, who is Lilia Fuller.
My baby sister.
Yes, our baby sister. Our baby sister. Fat. Revan started showing, Revan would be their father. Fuller. They call him Rev. Yeah. Started showing more affection, not or out loud, when he got older. Yeah.
He did. And you're right, Fat. He did.
Yep. And so, but it's just something about, being in relationships, and let me see, Fat said, oh, that was somebody else. It's just something about, okay, here we go. Miss Dr. Hill. Dr. Hill says, we are Kojic. So affection was not public. That's the problem with
religion. Exactly.
But he's right, because even in my churches that I grew up in, I saw people married. I never see them touch each other. Like holding hands,
Right.
or the man opening up the door for the woman, or opening up the car door. I don't even think I saw that. And so, what do the young generation have to look at?
But
For
brother, I
example,
want to say something, brother Ferris. I have gone to holiness church and stuff, and the men sit on one side and the ladies sit on the other side.
that sounds like that Muslim stuff too.
Because there was like no affection shown.
And I don't mean, let me correct what I said. I don't mean that disrespectful, because my friends, we got friends that are
Right.
Muslim. But, I can remember when I used to watch, like, and I'm going to use this as the example, Farrakhan.
Yeah.
Right. The women were sitting on the left, the men sitting on the right. That was TV, right? So now what we do is we equate what we see
Right.
as the God truth. And that may not even be the truth. But like what you're saying, that was true, and you saw it. Right.
Right.
And so, you guys, I know the time has come.
Wait,
It's
I
six.
want to say something. Nick, you're still on? If you're still on, I want to say that I really enjoyed how you did your resurrection service Sunday. Oh man, that was really, really neat.
What he
You
did?
did outside.
Oh,
Yeah, that was neat, man. That was thinking out of the box.
okay.
And refreshing, So I thought that was a good idea, man. You own it, man.
Well, that's
God.
really good. That's good. Let me close out with a last comment here. My parents had me. Verdale says my parents had me at an older age, so my dad showed his affection by buying things. That's true.
Yeah.
That's what people did back at that time. So he'd kiss my mom. He was more romantic when they were older.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then so and I get
they
that.
laid down that religion. It
It
ain't
yes,
important.
it ain't even important no more. And so, but the sunrise service, that was Nick saying about the sunrise service. And so, yeah, that was great. So you guys, maybe we'll continue this discussion next week. Nick, hey, look, if you're available, since you grew up with one parent,
Yeah, we got to get him and his
we'd love
wife
for
too.
you
Yeah.
to, you and your wife to come on and be our guest and give us a different perspective growing up in a home where there was just a single parent. That's why I say I grew up. And just sometimes, you don't,
And also being an integrated couple.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. It'd be really interesting.
Ooh, we got some questions for you. The inquiring minds want to know. So, Nick, would you say yes to our invitation?
Talk to his wife and let us know.
Yeah, we would love that. Would be awesome. We would love to have you and your wife.
I know there's going to be 2 or 3 segments.
So can you plan for like 2-3 weeks? We just saying. Look, Nick says, I'm sorry, Nick Scaglone. He says yes, anytime. Would you check with the missus first? And then next week, perhaps, we will see you guys on Godfidence with the Scaglione. Am I saying it right? Scaglione?
Okay. Close enough.
Yeah,
English assassin.
Yeah, so thank you.
I know who I am.
Yeah, that full of is. But
good.
we're gonna take it to a different level. We're gonna finish this topic, Pastor Nick, and you can then add to it, and then we're gonna talk about couples, interracial marriages, dating. I think that would be awesome.
And then we're gonna talk about they not like us. We're gonna stick them with 3 or 4 subjects.
Look, he says, Pastor Nick says, we got 42 years of answers.
Wonderful.
Yes. So we are looking forward to that discussion. And so we'll get you guys, we'll chat with you later on this week and come up with the discussion. But thank you guys for joining us on Godfidence. This is another topic we just come up with as we're just thinking and hearing things in our ministries and want to talk about it and get us all to talking about, life. And so, but thank you guys. This is how we do it. Yet another Monday. We are in almost the mid part of April. And we need some showers. Definitely need some April showers. So look, you guys have an awesome rest of your night. Full is trying to get our music together. This is how we do it. Thank you, Dr. Hill. This was great. Kingdom blessings to you too. And we love you guys. Y'all take care. We'll see you on the next Godfidence. Now I got to figure out, since we're using the iPad, how do I end our session? So y'all can stay on if you want to. But I don't really even know if I know how to end the oh, there it goes. End the live stream. See you guys next time on Godfidence. See ya.